Well, here we are in a brand new year for the church. The church ended its liturgical year really yesterday and begins a new one today, 30 days before we celebrate New Year's on our calendar. Advent has come in, and I know for so many of you that tell me it's always kind of a shock, it's a jolt, it always seems to get here so soon. And the Lord tells us to be ready. Advent, one of the connotations for the word itself is arrival. Arrival of what? So we prepare for two arrivals. We prepare to celebrate the Lord's arrival in history 2,000 years ago, born of the Virgin Mary. We prepare to celebrate that arrival that already happened. And then we prepare for his arrival at the end of time, where he will come to judge the living and the dead, and his kingdom will have no end. He will come back. He will come back because he told us he will come back. So we prepare for that. And listening to Bishop Barron this week, he says every day should be Advent for us as we prepare for his arrival, whenever that is. Most likely it will be at the end of our proximate lives. But nonetheless, he is coming. He is coming back. And eventually, at the end of time, he will judge the living and the dead. And his kingdom will have no end. So how do we prepare? The Lord talks about this. You know, those that saw Noah building the ark, they were just kind of, what's that crazy old guy doing? And somebody came out the other day and had his Bible that had illustrations, and this boy's name is Noah. And I said, can you show me a picture of Noah in your Bible? And he flipped it open, and Noah was buff. I mean, he's lifting those beams and nailing things together. He's not this old guy that can barely get along. No, he was a macho man. And he was preparing while others said, what was that guy doing? He said, I've received the word of the Lord. And we have to prepare because something is coming. And they're like, más o menos, we've got some time. Maybe this isn't going to happen. And eventually it did happen that the Lord flooded the earth and everything was destroyed. He will come back. He will come back. And we prepare for that. And how do we prepare? There are many ways. I just want to kind of illustrate a little bit of what we put in the bulletin and what we will put in the bulletin over the course of the next 4 weeks as a way of preparing. We thought about, passing out the Advent booklets, and people have come to us and told us that they've used them, and we have them in the bookstore if you would like them, if you feel that's part of the way you need to prepare. Those are available. But we wanted to do something a little different. And so I want to thank my staff, especially our bulletin editor and the liturgy folks for putting things together. So if you look on the front of your bulletin, there are just a number of ways to prepare. First, at the very top, there's a reflection about the King and his kingdom. So a reflection. And then if you look over to the left, a little bit lower, you have an activity. So I like this. So it says that if you have a nativity set, that put it out, but you don't put the little baby Jesus in the manger yet. And as Mary and Joseph traveled around before they arrived at Bethlehem, have them move around, the images of them move around in your house until they arrive at Bethlehem at the proper time. And I like what this said, instead of an elf on a shelf, do this with these images. And then when the Lord does arrive, if you have the Magi, they are also moving around before they arrive at the manger. So maybe after Christmas arrives, you can do that until we celebrate the Epiphany. And then over to the right, a little bit low, or a little bit lower than the reflection, is a prayer. And it's the St. Andrew Christmas prayer. It's an anticipation of Christmas. And the tradition is that you would pray this 15 times a day from the Feast of St. Andrew, which happened yesterday, until the arrival of the Lord at Christmas. So it's a wonderful way to prepare your heart. Do you have to pray it 15 times a day? That's up to you. If you want to pray it once a day, if you want to cut this out and put this in your prayer book and pray it every day until the arrival of the Lord, you can do that. Then down towards the bottom, charitable giving. So we have our yearly giving trees, and you folks, you're so generous. You're so generous. You take those tags, right? We purify ourselves with works of charity, and we take those tags and we bring back the item that is asked for, and that is donated to somebody that's in need. Charitable acts, that's another way to prepare. And then if you open the bulletin on the inside and you look to the second, page 5 rather, and you look at the bottom, Advent Communal Reconciliation. Again, preparing the way for the Lord. So communal reconciliation, we will have, you see a list in our deanery. So Tuesdays are going to be kind of ambiguous here at St. Timothy's during this time, because Father Shea and I will be helping other parishes on Tuesday. So there will be one Tuesday when everybody will be here, including priests from the other parts of the deanery. But on other Tuesdays, we will go over to their parishes to hear confessions. Now, you can use this and say, well, I don't want to wait. I'm going to go over to Queen of Peace. I'm going to go over to this other parish on Tuesday night. You can certainly do that. We will have a number of priests. And remember, too, that we will still have confessions here on Wednesday night before the Mass and on Saturday morning after the Mass. So there's 5 ways that we can prepare the way. We have reflection, we have prayer, we have activity, we have charitable giving, and we have penance. So friends, let us ponder the ways that we can prepare the way as we enter this holy season of Advent.